Hi, I'm Ben Neen, and I'm the Senior Manager for Publisher Monetization. The ad tech landscape has evolved rapidly over the last year with an increasing number of opportunities for publishers to monetize their inventory. One of the most exciting would have to be header bidding, and I want to spend some time talking about the rise of header bidding, what it is, why it was created, and how it can power publisher monetization. First, let's go back in time to just 1 year ago to an era I call waterfall world. Before header bidding, publishers used a waterfall approach to manage their exchange partners, serving them in order of highest average payer to lowest average payer. While waterfalls let publishers work with more partners and make more money, they tend to be very painful to manage for a variety of reasons. Let's talk about the 3 major issues in particular publishers face in waterfall world. The first was yield risk. Simply put, a publisher's ad server was picking which partner to serve the impression to based upon their average historical yield. The issue with this workflow is that the average can be a bad predictor for what any single impression is worth and gives an advantage to platforms which can bid impression by impression, like AdX's connection to DFP. As a result, publishers were managing inventory based on an assumption of what an impression was worth, not the actual value it could have been worth. In other words, you can't get the value of impression level bidding if your ad server thinks every impression is worth the same thing, which is what a waterfall does. The second issue was fill risk. A publisher's ad server would often decide to serve impressions to the exchange with the highest average rate, but sometimes the exchange couldn't fill it at all. Calling the exchange was not only a waste of time, it also now requires the publisher to have a plan B in place if they want to sell the impression at all. This plan B was usually to call out to another exchange or to pass it back to their ad server for a second round of ad decisioning, where the whole process might repeat itself. Bottom line, calling a partner that can't fill the impression was a major issue. Publishers needed to know if they can fill their impressions before they call their exchanges. And lastly, because of these complex contingency plans, daisy chains, and passbacks, publishers using a waterfall are faced with the difficult task of managing and optimizing and reporting on this setup. Ad operations teams have to log into many systems to get accurate reporting, deduplicate passback impressions in their own ad server's reporting, and constantly update their exchange partner's average rate in their ad server to keep the whole thing running. In short, publishers have to apply lots of manual effort to manage what's supposed to be an automated marketplace. Ultimately, all of these issues had a domino effect for the publishers as they experienced operational pain due to fill risk, and the reason they have fill risk is because they have yield risk. Now let's fast forward to today's publisher, where they have an option to heed all of these risks by leveraging a simple, much talked about solution called header bidding. Header bidding is a smarter way to monetize your inventory by allowing publishers to integrate with multiple programmatic companies, and it provides a solution to these intertwined problems. Firstly, to solve yield risk, header bidding allows the publisher to understand the value of an impression in advance of the ad serving decision, so they know exactly what each impression is worth to many exchanges at once instead of relying on an average rate, ensuring the highest paying exchange actually wins the impression. Secondly, getting a real bid value immediately solves the issue of fill risk as well, because with header bidding, the publisher has a bid or it doesn't, and therefore knows the exchange will deliver their impression or not. And lastly, eliminating fill risk means you can flatten your waterfall from a narrow cascade of multiple exchanges to a single level where each exchange fills 100% of what it bids on. This means no more complicated daisy chains to manage, no more passbacks to cope with, and no more manual headaches to pull a simple report on how much inventory the publisher has and which exchange filled what. With the issues from waterfall world now mitigated, header bidding has an immediate revenue benefit for the publisher because they understand what the market will pay without sacrificing an impression. If you've been drowning in your waterfall, maybe it's time you considered header bidding too.